Welcome to another edition of Ed Talks. I'm here with my friend Dan Lemerand. Dan, welcome to Ed Talks.
Thanks, Ed. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, one of the reasons, well, one, you're just a great person in general and a great healthcare leader, but you've got the greatest side gig, I think, that I've heard about. So tell us a little bit about your side gig. Like, what do you do on the side of your regular job?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was in law enforcement prior to getting into healthcare IT, and I'm too old to chase bad guys. So I figured out a way to keep myself involved in that family. And as a person of faith and as a deacon in our church, decided that I'd pursue the police chaplaincy and went to the police academy for chaplaincy. I now serve with three different departments here in the Detroit area. One that I'm assigned to, and then two others that I help kind of on a backup basis.
That's pretty cool. So give me an example, like when you get called, like what's a typical scenario? I know you've run into many atypical, but what would be something that might normally happen?
Yeah, what's interesting about the role is, you're meeting somebody at their worst. So our department in particular, Waterford Police Department, the chaplains are called out for every death that happens in the city. So if it's a suicide or an unintended death, or we just had unfortunately a murder suicide, a couple in their late 90s a couple of days ago, we get called out on all of those calls to minister to the family. And when I say minister, sometimes it's to pray with them, to pray around them and hold their hand and hug them. Other times they really don't want anything to do with anybody religious, and that's okay. We stand there and we make sure that they don't, one, interfere with the investigation that the police or the medical examiner needs to do. And we make sure that they're warm, they're cool, they have coffee, they have water, just to provide some comfort for the families. And then the other side of the role, which is interesting as well, is being counselors to the men and women in uniform. We have our particular department is a fairly young department, so they've not seen a lot of the things that somebody like myself who served for a number of years. I hate to say it, but I've seen everything. So we have a lot of younger officers that haven't been a part of a suicide, haven't been part of drownings, and they're very impactful situations for those folks. So they need somebody that, in my case, I've been there. Again, we can pray with them if they want to pray. Otherwise, we're just there for them and give them someone to either talk to or cry with, which is okay too.
Dan, we're gonna end with a story, any story that you want to share that had a profound impact on you. But before we get to your story, tell us a little bit about who you are, because I kind of jumped right in.
Oh yeah, I've been in the healthcare IT space for 25 years. Again, was in law enforcement prior to that. I've had a handful of opportunities over the years to jump out of healthcare and go do something else. And man, I love the people that I come across. I love the people that are trying to make a difference. You're in the top 5 of that list in my world of people that are working to make a difference in on the provider side, the vendor side. How do we work together for the betterment of healthcare? And I hate saying it, even after 25 years, we still have a lot of work to do. So I feel like I'd be remiss in not trying to help bring something to the healthcare IT space.
Yeah, no, I love that. So share with us a story that had a profound impact on you or the people that you ministered to.
It's there's so many. I think I'll give you kind of a side story to this. I had um, my dad passed away a long time ago, and his best friend and I have stayed in touch. And this advice works for me and everybody that is trying to make decisions in our life about what they want to do. And as a person of faith, right, what God is telling us that we should be doing, we don't always listen, we don't always hear, we don't know. Even if the answer is no, right, we want to do our own thing. He told me on a phone call, I thought I was supposed to be with this one department. I really wanted to join that department. They weren't getting back with me, and I was really frustrated. And his advice to me was, you can't move a parked car. So his advice was, go find a department that can use you and appreciate you, whether you want to be there or not, and go minister with them. Take your quote unquote gifts. And that's what I did. And I called him and thanked him and said, you know what? I had it in Dan's brain that this department needed me, and that's where I needed to be. And it turns out that this other department needed me a lot more, and I think I'm happier with them. And it's opened up. I've had several chiefs of police approach me around helping them set up their chaplaincy program, which has been a huge blessing for me. I'm more administrative by nature, so being able to help a department set up something that we do, and that I enjoy, has been a blessing for sure.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, isn't it funny how we sometimes want to take control, and because we do think, and we would, God would use us, but we would only hit, a 10-inch diameter target. But then
Right,
when he takes something that we think, oh, he's just giving me this 2-inch diameter target, and all of a sudden it gets blown up to, 100 inches, for a very
right.
bad metaphor, but I think you know what I'm saying. Like, you give it to him. Yeah,
Well,
love
it's
it.
funny that the gentleman that runs the police academy for the chaplain program called me and he said, "Hey, can you do the benediction and then closing prayer for this graduation?" And I used that as a platform to say to tell these recruits that or these new officers, if you don't have a chaplain, find one. If you need a chaplain, call me. I've been on the road. I have dealt with everything that you're gonna deal with in going into the future. That one opportunity to pray for that group caused two different chiefs to approach me afterwards and say, "Hey, will you help me set up our department?" And it's been yeah, it's a labor of love, and it's very much needed, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Wish there was more people like you to serve in that way, and I obviously you're ministering to, like you said, I never even thought about it. Yeah, you're serving not only the families and the victims in the particular case, but you're also serving the other emergency workers like police, because man, that's got to be a rough gig for them as well, running into that kind of stuff maybe for the first time or so many times. So Dan, thank you so much for sharing part of your life with us.